Hey guys, I think they're on to us. We're back on the camera here, live on Northwest Digital News. Kevin Hunter with Chris Bornstead and Kyle Torgeson here.
Wait, we're live?
We're live, yeah.
Oh no! I didn't even play.
Oh, no! I didn't hear the whistle go off.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
The noon whistle.
We're live?
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's what we're talking about. All right.
I still think it's
by
Friday.
the way, if you've been paying attention, that was, I think, revision level number 9 on the intro video. Things are changing all the time here on the
We make
broadcast.
videos around here like it's nothing.
Yes.
But they just appear randomly in my files, and I'm just like, okay, drag, update. So many videos.
You know what? The best in the business sitting right here at the broadcast desk, you know?
Thank you.
Kevin, Kyle.
Oh! Jeez, I thought you were talking to me.
I deliberately skipped over you at first. And then, yeah. You guys, we are the Maha Rushy of video creation.
I wish I understood that reference.
No, there's
I
there's
think
a
I
character who has
understand his
a
Maharashi is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I only know that because of Sir Mix-a-Lot and his Maharashi. You know, and his
No,
posse.
it was actually kind of a joke that a well-known broadcaster would use on his nationally syndicated show, and he'd say, here on the golden EIB microphone, the Maha Rushy.
You know what my favorite TV line was?
What's that?
May the fleas of 1,000 camels infest your armpits. Do you know who said that? Johnny Carson. No. When he was dressed up like the Swami. One of my favorites. One of my favorites.
That's classic.
Wow.
May the fleas of 1,000 camels infest your armpits.
Johnny Carson said that stuff.
Did you guys?
Oh man, that's terrible.
Remember, he used to put the card up to his head, and Ed McMahon would say something, and he would, guess what it is. Now, you younger people out there, look it up. Johnny Carson is the Swami, and Ed McMahon. You guys will get a huge kick out of it. It's something they did on their show for years.
Back when comedians knew how to be funny.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's right. All right, Kyle, hit us up with some weather. What's going on there,
hit you
man?
up with the weather? Well, today is going to be okay, let me actually bring the file over here. Check this out.
There you go.
The actual weather. Today is going to be a high of 44 with a low of 27. There will be partly cloudy. This week, it's going to be cloudy. Friday through Sunday, it says that's going to rain and be partly snowy because it's going to be dropping down to that snowy temperature. So just be prepared for maybe another snow-in. We don't know. This area is very not concrete on the weather.
We're very fluctuating all
they
the
call
time
us a
on the weather.
banana belt type of area,
Yeah.
Banana belt. Yeah, that's...
That's why, it's really appropriate that we have a constantly changing weather thing even in the background, because around here...
Whoa.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did the climate just change?
Yep, it just changed.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's called climate change.
All right.
So, yeah,
Yep.
it will be snowy, maybe icy tonight, so just be prepared for maybe getting your tires ready, studded tires, whether it's changed. Talking about tires, this weather was brought to you in part by Longview Auto and Tire.
Ooh, look at you go.
Look at that. Yeah, check this out. It's the Kyle Show now. Oh, it's okay. Check out this really cool video.
Hey there, have you heard Longview Auto and Tire is giving away free tires? That's right. As their first year of business comes to a close, Roy and Ruben Byman of Longview Auto and Tire want to thank their customers for their generous support with a free tire giveaway. Here's all you have to do. Visit Longview Auto and Tire today at 655 Commerce Avenue near Tennant Way and fill out an entry form. Or go online to longviewtiresales.com/giveaway. Get rolling on free tires from Longview Auto and Tire today. Visit website for complete details.
All right, well, we are going to be talking about 20 things that you shouldn't be putting in your fridge. Foods that you shouldn't be putting in your fridge. It's really funny, because if you're familiar with this at all, there are foods that we have become very commonly associated with need to go in the fridge.
Now, Kevin, I have an endless struggle and battle with the fridge on fridge space.
Yeah?
So, when I was reading, the internet the other day, which I frequently read the internet, this is one of the stories I came across that I took a quick read at and went, I'm learning something.
Yeah.
You know, I was really excited when you get to number 20 because, you know, number 20, I was like throwing other things out of the fridge just so I could store it in the fridge, and then you find out you don't even have to put it in the fridge. I mean,
now one of them that's going to show up on this list is going to be eggs.
yeah, eggs.
Now I want to share something important with you guys because, you know, if you've ever had chickens, you know that like when you do the float test on the egg to make sure that it's good, the bad egg floats to the surface, the good egg sits in the bottom of the water pot.
Correct.
And so anyway, if you've done the float test on the eggs, you'll notice that, see, we have found, with our chickens, we have found as many as, I think the most was 21 eggs in one stash. So they like find hiding places in the yard and under the porch and all kinds of.
So it's kind of like Easter every day?
Yeah, you kind of find these, make these major discoveries.
Oh,
and
nice.
anyway, we have not run into a discovery like that where any of the eggs were bad. So you imagine how long they were outside, and this could be during the summer when it's warm, whatever. But an egg will not go bad, not being refrigerated, as long as you haven't washed it, cleaned it, everything else, and taken all the things off of the shell that was on the shell when the chicken laid it. So as long as that didn't happen, your eggs don't have to be in the fridge.
We figured we just better warn you about the egg part. Just, you know.
If you bought them from the grocery store and they're refrigerated,
Yeah.
they need to go in the fridge when you get
Yeah.
home.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the only thing that's.
I've always been, you know, because I grew up in a household where we always bought our eggs.
Wait a minute, I know you're lying
What?
because you said when you grew up.
Oh, yeah, I'm not done yet. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But anyway,
Chris is
when I
never-
was younger,
Chris has never grown up. But when he was younger,
you know,
you did what now?
You know, we always bought our eggs. We never had chickens, and so the first time that somebody put a brown egg in front of me, I was like, "What do you want me? What is this?"
We bought our eggs too, but they looked like chickens.
I was like, "What's wrong with this?"
We bought our eggs too, but they looked like chickens.
They look like chickens. I
Yeah,
get what you're saying.
and then that purchase resulted in more eggs
you know,
that don't look like
They
chickens.
just appear.
If we really want to, you know, talk about chickens, Kevin, you are more than welcome to come over and film an episode of NDN News building a chicken coop in my backyard.
Oh.
With runners for the chickens, because
The
I
chickens,
really
you guys, are literally like 2 weeks out. That's when all
Right.
the little pullets start
because I
showing
want
up.
chickens because I want my own eggs. Anything to save money nowadays because more and more people are starting to reach into our pockets, and so we need to figure out ways to save money. And you know, raising your own animals is I know the government doesn't want us to do that. They'd rather just have us buy everything from the store.
Yeah.
But we need to get back to farming and gardening and raising animals and
You know
stuff
all
like
those
that.
pesky little Asian beetles that look like ladybugs, and all the other kind of like annoying insects you have around your place. You'll notice very few of those
yeah.
when you have chickens.
I try to tell my wife, you know, if we get
Because
chickens, the
that's
spiders will go
A
away.
big chunk of their food. Yeah, they just hop around the yard and peck all the little bugs, and
My
that's
only
what they do.
concern is that I have dogs that like to chase things.
Okay, but here's another thing I'd say. So you know that the chickens eat a lot of insects.
Yes.
That's part of the benefit of getting a free-range egg is it has much more nutrients in it. Like one that's in a pen in some commercial barn somewhere that's eating those little grain pellets all the time produces a egg that's this really bright yellow, almost like highlighter yellow color. But when you get an egg from a chicken that's running around in your yard, it's a very gold color.
Yeah.
Really dark gold color.
Or brownish.
A lot more nutrients. Well, depending on, if the egg went bad, then it gets really brownish.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, no, just anyway, bad analogy. Yeah, you could get this really brown egg. Yummy. No, they will be. The shells will be all kinds of different colors, and it's this specific type of breed that you get will determine whether it's a light brown or a dark brown or a white or whatever.
I can't believe how many different breeds of chickens there are.
There's a lot.
There really is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So in a future episode, if you guys want to, so we got bathroom remodel on the list. We've got chicken coop and pool deck. We've got a list.
We've got a whole list.
I just
Well,
remembered.
here's the other thing I was going to say about that. So once you get your chickens, and then you observe the chickens eating the bugs, you could consider eliminating the middleman and you just eating the bugs.
He has a point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of protein in bugs, from what I hear.
Oh yeah.
So Chris will be scrounging in his backyard eating bugs.
I hear Kyle's going to raise chocolate-covered ants.
I guess I am. Oh man, that'd be cool. Chocolate-covered ants. It's kind of like Harry Potter. But you know what? I just remembered this year. This time last year, we were talking about a chicken cam because when you first started having the chickens, and we're like, oh yeah, we just set up a chicken cam that just streams 24/7, just chickens. I just remembered that, so I think we need to actually fulfill that.
All right, so what tops the list with foods that you should not be putting in your fridge? Top of the list, potatoes.
Is potatoes the first on the list?
It's first on the list,
is
yeah.
the first on the list.
Yeah, and actually for many, many years, even in my wife's family and my family as well, growing up, always stored these huge bags of potatoes either in a, like a, like I said, it's cool, dark place. But anyhow, they store them in these huge bags, and that's where all the spuds came from.
When I was a kid, growing up in our household, potatoes were stored downstairs in a bucket or in in a bag, like what you said, in the dark area. So.
And it says that cold air actually has a negative effect on potatoes. And if you're not sure what the negative effect is, just put your foot in the fridge and close the door and leave it in there for a while, and you start to feel this negative effect on your foot.
Which
after a while.
negative effect do you feel first? The slamming of the door on your ankle, or the
or is it the separation?
No, actually,
since we're
totally disregard
since
what
we're
I said.
gonna
I'm sorry, guys, I went full CNN on you there for a minute.
trying to get us to do some fake stuff, huh,
Wait,
Cap?
is that the idea of Mr. Potato Head? How you can just take body parts off of him and just place them around? Because
Yeah.
just
See, and that has a negative effect on Mr. Potato Head.
So what is it that
Don't put your potatoes
What,
in the
what
fridge,
does it
guys.
tell us here that the refrigerator does to the potatoes, and why it doesn't?
Potatoes are rich in starch. Cold temperatures convert the starch into sugar at a rapid pace. So if you wanted your spud to be basically instant sugar in your system, put them in the fridge.
Right.
Raw.
Now, this
and store 'em
potatoes
there.
is something that we've talked about on the show before, and you told us that this is one of the things that you want to let cool down before you eat it.
Yes, so that you would store them in a cool, dark place. Then when you cook them and you turn them either into a baked potato or a mashed potato, let the potato cool or come to a very cool
I found
temperature.
the best way.
Then eat them, or even let them completely cool. Recook them like a twice baked potato.
Those
Will
are my
have
favorites.
full of resistant starch, so it doesn't convert to sugar nearly as easily in your system, and a lot of that good starch gets down to your large intestine, which helps grow good bacteria in your system. So a lot of ways to make a potato good for you, and even keto compliant for the
You
few
said keto compliant?
You can actually make a potato keto compliant. Yes.
Oh.
I think you just fulfilled like Chris's dream.
Well, no, you're going to make Rachel very happy because potatoes is like her. I mean, if she could just eat potatoes all day long, she would be happy. I mean,
So here's what you do,
So-
Rachel. You take your big baked potato, you bake it until it's getting soft. Cut the thing open, fill it full of butter, sour cream, like some bacon bits, like whatever you want to do, salt,
Chives.
pepper, chives, whatever else. Close the thing back up, wrap it up in its foil, let it completely cool. If you want, then you could actually put it in the fridge and then reheat it either later that day or the next day or whatever. But make these baked potatoes in advance like this. Wrap them up, put them in the fridge, and then reheat them on the day that you want to use them. Then when you reheat them, allow them to cool down to a kind of like room temperature or whatever else, and then scarf them down. They'll be keto compliant.
Nice.
Boom.
cool. So what's our number 2 on the list? And I don't know if we're going by 19 down to 1 or 1 to 20. But
It doesn't matter. Onions.
Onions are another thing not to put in the refrigerator.
They'll soften and grow mold in the fridge.
I know my garlic did that. I put some garlic in the fridge a couple of weeks ago thinking that I was going to keep it good. And when I cut into the garlic, exactly what you said had happened. There's mold on the inside of the garlic. You couldn't tell from the outside. It was only after you cut into it that you could see the mold. So,
Well, one of the things that's true of onions and is also true of fresh garlic, like you were talking about, is don't take the peel off the outside.
Right.
Leave all that nice dark peel on the outside of it. The minute you do peel it down to that nice tender inside, then you got to refrigerate it.
Right.
And you not only need to refrigerate it, but you better put it into a nice airtight like Tupperware container, because even like a plastic bag ain't enough.
Yeah.
If you put that into the fridge in any kind of not properly sealed container, it will make everything else in the fridge taste like an onion or garlic.
The best
if you're
advice I'd
doing
say
garlic.
on onions is just don't store it at all. Just use what you're going to use, and then you know another thing that you can do. Let's say you used a half onion. It's not really worth it to throw it in the fridge, but what it is worth doing is throwing it out on the counter in the corner of the room, because if you do that with an onion, one of the old wives' tales is that it will suck bad bacteria and stuff.
It's not a wives' tale. That's actually pure science.
It
That's
will
true.
take bad things out of the air in your room. So you don't necessarily, if you use a quarter of an onion or a half onion, you just throw the other half in the thing. And
You know how you said you were feeling not that great
Yeah, my
today or
daughter got
yesterday
me
or
sick,
whatever else?
yeah.
So here's what you do this evening, and then you can report back to us on Friday and tell us what difference this made. But one of the long time known strategies for getting rid of a cold overnight or the flu overnight or whatever else with onions is slicing the thing in half so you have a nice open cut onion, putting that on your nightstand right next to where as close to your head as possible, so that you are not only breathing that gas, but it's close, the gas off the onion, but it's close enough to you.
They say
And you might be salivating thinking of a fried burger all night.
no, they.
But it does absorb a ton
of
of bacteria.
Right.
I mean, you should not consume the onion
no,
after you've used
absolutely
it like
not.
that.
If you leave the onion out, that blackness and that stuff that turns into the onion, that's all coming from
Pulls
it's being
toxins out of the
sucked-
air.
It's being, so you definitely don't want to eat those. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that if the recipe calls for half an onion, just throw it out there on the counter for a couple of days, and it's going to help clean up the house a little bit.
Okay, another one is avocados. We use a lot of these.
They call
around
these
here.
avocado pears, and I had no idea that pears were actually a part of that, or that apparently the
Look at the
avocado.
shape.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't.
It's a clue.
They're both fruits, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Attack of the ads.
Yeah, as clickbait. But anyway, avocados. I mean, you guess you don't put those in the refrigerator either. It says if you buy your avocados green from the store, put them in a bag and put them in the cupboard, and that will ripen them up faster for you too as well. But avocados is another one of those items that as soon as I get it home, I throw it in the fridge, because it's just habit.
Go back up, Kyle, and put the fruit right in the middle of the screen, so everybody who's unfamiliar with an avocado can see what the heck it is.
If you don't
There
know
you
what
go.
an avocado is, you are missing out on some of the best food on the planet.
Oh yeah,
But,
that should
wow.
be in your diet every single day.
Yeah,
guys.
and we've known for a long time that avocados have the correct fat. That is when they,
Boom.
because and that's something that they have said for years when they first started talking about fat.
They do best in a dark environment, so having them either in a brown paper sack or anything like that will help them ripen. And my wife tends to buy them in varying stages of ripening, and so there's always ones that are coming ripe in the inventory that she keeps, and those that are harder and more greener. So
Jeffrey posted.
read his post.
Yeah, I peel a clove at a time. My unused peeled garlic, I put in a small container of oil. Not only will it hold the garlic odor, it will also hold the flavor of the oil for salad or pasta. That is a super fantastic idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? When I lived on the commune for 2 weeks, I think it was like the best.
Did you get kicked out like Bernie Sanders?
No, actually, I planned for 2 weeks and actually
Okay,
left
all right.
on time. And they actually let me go. Communes don't actually hold you. Well, the good communes. But I think it's
That was actually a pretty good reenactment of Bernie Sanders too there. A lot of with the hands.
socialism. We need 2 pairs of shoes. No. Living on the commune was like the best I've ever felt. And we actually ate a lot of avocados, eggs from the chickens that we did not refrigerate. And of course, we grew all the food we ate. And we also had goats, so we milked the goats daily. Made cheese.
Did you actually milk a goat?
Yeah.
I wish I
You
got a
wake up-
video of that.
You wake up every day. I woke up at like 6 a.m. naturally, just because that's when the sun got up. Woke up when the sun was out. Went to bed when the night stars is the best time and best I've ever felt. It's crazy.
So in the field right next to my house, talking about goats,
Yes.
there's like 5 female and then a couple of rams that are out there. And you know how you like in storybooks, kids' books, they write this bah, you know, B-A-A-A, you know, it is like absolutely hilarious the sound these goats make.
Oh yeah.
Like if you could imagine yourself, you know, just being totally surprised and shocked by this huge onset of the flu, and you had to like literally turn around and go, bleh. That's kind of their sound. The first time I heard one of them do it, I was just like, whoa, oh, that's the goat. It would literally sound like somebody just, you know, lost their cookies behind you.
My grandpa, when I was growing up, thought it would be a good idea to get a goat to eat, you know, the sticker bushes in the lower field. And those things cry, and they cry, and they cry, and they cry. And, you know, even in the middle of the night, this poor goat, you know, staked out. And this goat had been passed through all the neighbors, too, because, you know, they're like, here, take this goat and put it in your backyard. And so when we're sleeping in bed at night, that thing would be staked down in the field, and it would just cry, ah, ah, all night long, man.
You know how in sports and politics these days and schools, you know, everybody has to be a winner and everybody gets a prize.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like looking over the fence, and here's 6 of these creatures out there, and I realized that all of them are in first place because all of them are the greatest of all time.
Oh, wow.
All of them are the greatest of all time. I was just like, wow, I'm sitting here looking at 6 goats. I just could not, just like hard to fathom, but they're all in first place.
Chris, are you getting any of this?
No.
No?
No.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, greatest of all time.
Oh, jeez.
So when someone says, man, you're such a goat, it's...
I told you guys I'm not
You
feeling well today.
You forgot the LeBron James recently. He even made GOAT famous by claiming to be the greatest of all time.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That kind of pissed off Michael Jordan and a few other people, you know, but he was like, I'm the GOAT. What I wanted to hear him go is go like, bleh. Then I would, oh, he really is.
So, did you know goats have a hierarchy?
They do?
Yeah, they do. So if you ever actually...
Wait, so not all of them are the greatest of all time?
only one is the greatest of all time. And
Oh.
it can be female, it can be male, it doesn't matter. But one is like the designated leader. So if you don't know who that is and you let them out into Grange and you're trying to keep them contained, one could
Did you
just
say
simply...
let them out to Grange?
To Grange, Grove, to Rome,
Yeah, to Grange.
to Grange.
Grange.
Yeah.
To Grange. They can just, you know, one just leaves and that could be the leader, and then they all leave and you're chasing after the leader, then the leader starts running.
Don't you mean Graze?
Yeah, Grange.
Graze.
Yeah, great.
That too.
Yeah, that too.
Speaking of grazing,
This is like
you shouldn't refrigerate your bread either.
so is bread on the list.
Yeah, bread's on the list. Don't put your bread in the fridge, guys.
Don't put your bread in
All of these things, Kevin, and just about everything on
Hey,
this
I can
list.
guarantee you this much: there is no bread in our fridge.
No.
That is not a thing that we violated at our
There's the
house.
bread.
Yeah.
Found the bread.
There is no bread. Bring it up so we can see the.
I will. Let me
Yeah.
just post the link for this article so people
You
can
just want
follow
to
along.
advertise this Wi-Fi built to
No,
stream.
I just want to prepare everyone that they should wake up every morning saying, "Hey, I'm going to get this bread."
This is funny saying. I'm reading an internet comments yesterday on a political post on the Daily News, and some elderly lady, instead of talking about the article, she goes, "The Infinity Wi-Fi brings this up." She goes, "I'm on Infinity Wi-Fi and I can't connect to the internet." That's what that's
All right,
what
you
she was
guys.
concerned about.
So if you already knew this and you do not have your bread in the fridge, you are the breadwinner for today.
Yeah, the breadwinner.
Yes.
So Jeffrey says, "Resist the goatarchy.
You'll-
Resist."
Yeah. Do not fall for that.
So what's next? So we got bread. And by the way, like I said, most of these things that are on the list I'm guilty of putting into the refrigerator because I thought that it would make things better and make them last longer, and that is just not the case. You can actually ruin some things by putting them in the refrigerator, such as coffee.
Don't put your coffee in the fridge.
Do
guys.
not put your coffee in the
But if you
refrigerator.
brew your coffee and then you put things like butter and coconut oil in it while it's hot, of course. Then you can put it in the fridge. You got this delicious iced coffee in there. And so then you can either drink it cold or you can reheat it and use it again. But,
I got.
But don't put your coffee beans in the fridge.
Another tip, since it's supposed to get hotter because it's that time of year. What you can do is you take that old coffee pot and you just take an ice tray, and then you just put the old coffee right in the ice tray, stick it in the freezer. You got ice cubes made of coffee, and then in your cup you just kind of put some creamer in there, and then you put the ice cubes in there that are of coffee, and you have nice iced coffee. So when it's a hot day, think about that.
So a coffee bean does the best when it's cool, dry, and dark. So when you put it in the fridge where it's cold and moist, now if your refrigerator light doesn't work, you've met at least 1 out of 3. But, no, put it in a cool, dry, dark place. It'll do the best there. Yeah. That's actually how we store our coffee. It just sits in the cupboard.
Yeah, we put ours in the cupboard. That's
right next to the bread.
Yeah.
Right next to the bread.
Right next to the bread.
And the pickles. And the eggs.
Hey, we aren't there yet.
We have to start over now.
Redo.
Spoilers.
New shell. All right.
Now, this is one that was surprised me that I every day, I put my tomatoes in the refrigerator. But apparently, you are not supposed to do that. It actually retards the flavor.
I think where people got into the idea of putting things like potatoes and tomatoes and all these things into the refrigerator, it was mostly, hey, these tomatoes are sitting on the counter. Where should we put them? Oh, hey, there's room in the fridge.
Yeah.
So
there was much argument for many years around our house because my grandmother would store the ketchup in the cupboard and not in the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, it's going to go bad. And my grandma just laughed at them. No. So, I mean,
is there a common product that's associated with tomatoes, you guys?
I mean, there's that bucket that you can hang upside down and it grows tomatoes.
I could give you like 55 tips.
Pizza?
On what? Well, maybe Heinz could give you 55 tips on what product might be associated with a tomato. Anything, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Or how about
Heinz
57? There you go.
I got one.
I got it.
I got one good one. You know what the best place to store your produce and everything? Right in your garden. Just don't even pick them yet until you have to use them. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tomatoes, tell us, Kevin, like I said, it retires the flavor, and what else does it do to them?
They become very mushy and soft in the fridge.
I had no idea that. Now I was always
and the red color is kind of diminished too. They become these really pasty looking tomatoes.
I always assumed
perfect for like performances at the theater.
For what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know how you bring snacks to a theater.
No.
Well,
you warm them to room temperature, and then they're very good throwing devices.
You stick them in the fridge so they get all nice and mushy, and then you put them in your purse. We go to the theater, live theater, and when it's not good, you
Kyle, smuggling things into the theater is wrong, and I won't do it.
Yeah.
What I want to know is how many other things do you bring to the theater in your purse, Kyle?
Yes. That too.
Kyle's checking the bottom of his shoe because he just stepped in it.
So not the tomatoes. Tomatoes stay out of the refrigerator. Put them in the cupboard, just like you see them.
You should not put your honey in the fridge either.
No, honey, I guess, doesn't go in the fridge either, which I never did put my honey in the fridge. It always went in the cupboard as well.
Just store it in your beehive.
Yeah, or just, like Kyle said, keep it in the beehive and just go out and grab it as you need it. Which, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the bee setup they have at the fair every year. You know, they have a beehive where it's actually working. It's really cool to sit and watch those guys do.
The other thing you should put in the fridge is melons.
Melon.
And you should put your honey's melons in the fridge either. Those two just kind of came together. Uh-huh. No honey and no melons. They don't go in the fridge.
So why don't the melon? Why? I mean, I always put my melon. How about after you cut them, or you cut them open, then you would refrigerate them?
I just want to say something.
Once sliced, they go in the fridge.
Michael Frericks is back here with a comment. Michael Frericks, it's good to see you. It's been a while. It's so great. Yes,
it is Friday. It is Friday somewhere, and it's probably 5 o'clock somewhere too.
I mean,
I don't think that they're right on anything that they just said.
I know Margaritaville in Jamaica is 5 o'clock.
Yeah, we went full CNN on you there for a minute. No, the other thing is too is you have to remember about like nutritional content. So one of the things that refrigerating a melon can do is have an adverse effect on its vitamins and minerals.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they can be lost in the process.
Michael, this is Wednesday food day, and since Kevin didn't cook us any food, we're going over 20 things that you don't need to store in your refrigerator.
Yeah, I didn't even drink my weight loss coffee. I had it.
You know what
I
I could've
totally
done?
thought I was coming here for lunch today, and just nothing.
Well, speaking of lunch, the other thing you should put in your fridge is donuts.
Why would you?
Yeah, you should put your donuts in the fridge.
I can't figure out why.
A refrigerated donut just seems really, really
Are you
gross.
trying to
doesn't it?
preserve the gel? The gel in the donut? I mean, what is it?
Yeah, they're trying to preserve the donut.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think they have any issues there with that. They just kind of get hard, and then you can throw them as rocks.
They actually, interestingly enough, donuts actually do need a little bit of air. See, I don't even know any of this stuff about a donut because they're not even permitted in the house.
Michael Frericks has said, ordered pizza. I know Domino's number by heart, 360-636-6000. That is 360-636-6000 for Domino's.
You know how long that
So if
number...
you're listening, please order a pizza for Kyle.
Well,
Hold on. You
I'll
know how
I'll post
long
her address.
that they have had that phone number, you guys?
Huh.
Ever since they opened up in Kelso, where the little Mexican restaurant is at. That was where Domino's was originally at many, many years ago. I remember this because they fooled us and they told us Michael Jackson was coming to the opening.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was actually Michael Jackson, the football player from Seattle Seahawks. All of us were like, what?
Did he moonwalk all the way down here from Seattle?
Yeah, no. But anyway, that's just something. But they've had that number on lockdown for that many years, man.
Okay, well, this is our address. Again, that is 360-636-6000.
Send us that pizza.
Yeah, please deliver a pizza for Kyle.
We're
We would
hungry.
appreciate that
Please.
a lot.
I haven't eaten in 3 days.
So what's the next thing after the donuts? What don't we?
Pickles.
Are we to the last thing on the list already?
Nope. We're to the
Oh,
salami.
salami. Yeah. Now this is another thing that I put in the refrigerator that I didn't know you had to, but apparently you can actually even increase your flavor of your salami by not putting it in the refrigerator.
Oh,
It's much
Whoops.
better not in the fridge.
Right. Yeah. So you think about the way they make salami anyway. It's they hang it and they let it cure for a long time. So I guess it would make sense that you don't necessarily have to put it in the refrigerator, but we always do, and it's the wrong thing to do.
So do you know what the shelf life of salami is? Just sitting out on the
It's quite a while. I don't.
6 weeks.
Is it 6 weeks?
Wow.
Yeah. If you think about it, you guys, in the era of the refrigerator is when all these things that got put in the fridge that people never refrigerated before.
All right.
So what do you think the cowboys had in their saddlebags
Mini
riding
cooler?
across this mini cooler with a cigarette
fridge.
lighter thing to power it?
yeah.
And they plugged that into the horse's left nostril.
Yeah.
And it just, boom.
And then they'd also have a
nostril.
dentist to,
Yeah.
With all this talk about methane, I would have thought they'd stick it somewhere else.
believe it or
Gas-powered
not,
cooler, man.
while they worked on the horseshoes, they actually had a dentist to work on the horse's teeth, so they had Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
No?
So actually, salami is something that we have at our
Yeah.
house all the time. So what's our next
Are
thing
you
on the
sure,
list?
are you sure it's not shalami?
Shalom.
Shalami.
Say
Your,
it,
ma- your matured cheeses.
So immature
Oh.
cheeses go on the counter,
Yeah.
or
So you have to
In the
like
bedroom.
listen to it carefully, and if it's like making snide remarks towards you and stuff like that, you go, "That's an immature cheese,"
Right.
and that you put in the fridge.
right.
But if it's like behaving itself and it's growing green things on it and stuff like that, and you're going, "Wow, that's pretty mature cheese," just leave it on the counter.
This is like an old Cheez-It commercial.
And by the way, you can cut that mold off and still eat the cheese.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. The old butcher shops would simply come in the morning, use their big blades. They would slice any mold off that was on the cheese, wipe any oil back into the cheese that had leached out of it, and just start slicing cheese and giving it to the people who are coming in for it.
I came across a video yesterday that made me like mouth water, and I really, really want to try it. But basically, there's a chef that cures his meat. So basically, he takes a whole thing of ribs, and then he gets soft butter, and he just dips
yeah.
the ribs into the
I saw
soft
this
butter.
video.
and then it just hardens, and it's just
They put it for like months in the refrigerator.
about 30 days.
Yeah, and they
In
just
butter.
Salted, soft butter. So it's like it cures while it's kind of like a wax seal on cheese.
Yeah, it's awesome. He just cuts a hunk off and then.
And it's just super tender because the cheese just the butter.
Yeah. See what you did by not bringing food today?
Yes.
We were all hopeful.
By the way, you guys, I shouldn't even tell you this, but I will.
Oh no.
On Sunday, we brought 20 pounds of bacon-infused ham.
How do you do
There was like a Knights of Columbus breakfast that was going on, and they asked me if I was willing to donate. And I said, you know what? We'll bring some bacon-infused ham.
Was this the all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast?
It was like, yeah, it's like,
Why didn't you take me?
well,
Yeah,
anyway.
we could cover the event. We
Jeez,
have press
Kevin.
passes.
Anyway, to totally ignore your question,
It doesn't fit my agenda.
to totally ignore your question, one of the guys who is organizing all of this, Willie, he came and tells me afterwards. He goes, well, one of the ways you can tell if people liked what they were served, they had eggs and pancake and then this bacon-infused ham. And he said, the plates that came back, any of those that had remaining food on it, there wasn't any ham on any of the plates that came back.
I guess I
Nice.
don't know what bacon-infused ham is.
It's like
So
ham.
here's what happened. Is we take there was an 8 pound and 12 pounds. So that's how you end up with roughly 20 pounds of ham. Of course, when you pull the bone out and stuff like that, it's a little bit less, but it gets built back to 20 pounds. And here's how. So we probably ended up with about 17 pounds of actual ham, maybe even 16 pounds. But anyway, so it's slow roasted first. That started at about 6 p.m. and around midnight or so, you take the ham out of the oven. You then pour cream, and there was like 1.5 pounds of butter that went into it, and also some chive infused butter went into there, so some chive and some other seasonings that went into it. But then most importantly, you take the bacon out of the freezer that you had there, which is frozen. It's uncooked frozen bacon. Dice it up so it's nice. It's very easy to dice when it's cold or frozen. So diced up 2 pounds of bacon, put that back on top of the meat, then you cover it and make sure it's sealed really, really well, because this is going to be important that you don't dry it out. And so after removing everything off of the ham, the bone, everything else, that meat went into another nice big pan. It then got the cream and the butter and the chives put over it, and this, like 2 pounds of bacon. It then went back in the oven.
Wow, Michael, how long has it been since you've watched the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was trying to find a picture of bacon-infused ham, but I guess it's really hard to find. I was trying to find a picture, but it'll be in our minds.
Michael Ferricks is wondering, new studio and table? Yes. New looks.
New
Yes.
mics, too.
Yeah. Yeah, did you notice that too, Michael?
I'm still trying to find them.
Yes.
So, next thing on the list is
Vinegar.
vinegar. That is something that was never stored at, again, we never stored that in the refrigerator growing up
You
either,
guys,
so-
it's acid.
Yeah.
Vinegar
Acidic
is a
acid.
acidic fluid that preserves itself.
All right, well, that was a simple one. What's next?
That
Pretty simple there.
was, yeah, it's acid. How about like some of the herbs like basil,
Basil.
basil? Yeah.
So you don't put basil in the fridge.
That's correct.
What's the thinking behind that?
Well, have you ever noticed that when you get basil from like a spice shop or anything else, did you go back to the refrigerated section to get it, or was it just in the dry goods?
Well, when I go to cash and carry, they put the basil like that in the walk-in refrigerator. And apparently we're learning that that's not right, that they shouldn't do that. So
Yeah,
that's
don't
where I
refrigerate
find it.
Yeah.
Like when I'm thinking about it over at Winco, they also kind of put it in a refrigerated thing as well. So
Most of the time, stores and places
Yeah.
like that are worried about spoilage.
right, and so I can see how people might take that home and then refrigerate.
We
it.
harvest a lot of fresh herbs.
Mhm.
Don't refrigerate any of them.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
to know.
No, we need to catch up on the list.
Yeah.
and give you 57 reasons.
Oh.
Now he gets it. Now he gets it. It took this long.
No,
but anyway,
it's because I didn't see what's next on the list. So when he said we need to catch up, I was like, oh yeah, we're running out of time. And then I saw the.
Oh, we love it.
This is a Friday.
Some ketchup.
Yeah, don't be a ketchup in the fridge. If you go to restaurants, see, they've known this for a long time. The ketchup is sitting on the table.
Yeah, they never do it. And even when they refill it, the
and
container.
you're like, oh, is that good? Because so why don't they have like a little mini fridge on the table with ketchup bottles in it? Because you don't refrigerate ketchup.
Nope.
Oh,
This
mini
is going to solve an
fridge.
argument around my house too, by the way. Kid. Like I said,
a mini
when I grew up, ketchup didn't go in the fridge. It went into a nice dark cupboard.
Yeah.
In my current house, it
Well, now when you get home,
There's
you
an
can tell 'em ketchup doesn't go on in the fridge,
look.
and they'll be singing a different tuna.
I saw it on NDN News. Ketchup doesn't go in the fridge.
Ketchup does not go in the fridge. You won the argument, Chris.
Yes, I win. I win. Finally.
Like I said, your wife's going to be singing a different tuna.
Yeah.
I think I heard something that was quite fishy coming out of Kevin's mouth just there, but I don't quite know.
You don't know why either, but like I said.
Ooh, I was right.
So, tuna. Where are you going?
Right there.
I can't read. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So no tuna in the refrigerator. That's after, I imagine, after you open it, you have to refrigerate it, right?
You should refrigerate it
I was
after you
gonna
open
say,
it, yes.
Refrigerate
Makes
that.
sense.
What is that?
That's tuna. Well, that's a TV screen, but on it's tuna and us.
Tuna. Yeah.
It doesn't look like any tuna I've ever gotten. But anyway, so what's the next thing on the list?
This is a product that you can find on PBS. The Peanut Butter Show. Very popular show. Just dedicated to peanut butter. Yeah, you don't have to refrigerate the peanut butter. There actually are just a few exceptions to this, but not many. Yeah, peanut butter can just be stored out on the counter. However, you know what? You should not put your peanut butter in places where it's actually exposed to like higher temperatures, because it can go rancid. And there have been people that have taken peanut butter like on a picnic or a trip or whatever else, and they had it in their little brown paper sack and they threw it up on the dash, and it saw the sun's heat.
I can't. We should have never ran this article, because now what I've learned from this is that I can't put my peanut butter sandwich with pickles in the refrigerator, because
your peanut butter sandwich with pickles.
Yeah, it's a thing. But no, the bread can't go in the fridge. The pickles don't need to go in the fridge, and the peanut butter doesn't need to go in the fridge.
You're going to have to change all your habits.
All my habits are changing. All of them. So that was the last thing on the list, right? Was pickles?
Nope, pickles.
There's still something after pickles?
Just have to change.
Yeah,
all
so
your
I was telling the
habits.
guys beforehand when I read this article originally, I was super excited because we buy bulk pickles at Cash and Carry for under $5 for a big container of them. And I struggled to find space in the refrigerator for them. And after this article, I now know that I gave up on putting them in the refrigerator and just hoped for the best. And like the kids and me wouldn't get sick. And then when I came across this article, I was like, I'm all good. I'm all good.
Well, Chris,
Pickles
you were
don't
pretty
have to
sure
go in the
that
fridge.
pickles is last on the list,
No.
and I hate to put egg on your face about this, but there is other things on the list here. Specifically, eggs.
Eggs? Yeah, eggs. We already talked about.
Yeah, we talked
eggs a
about
little
that.
bit.
So we can
we'll
skip it. But for those of you that missed it, if you got chickens laying eggs, don't wash them.
Don't wash them.
And don't refrigerate them.
Right.
Put them out on your counter.
Yeah, you can just keep it in a basket for like 30 days. Just right on your countertop, just like
Yeah,
right
and
there.
if you have any questions at whether the eggs are good or not, just drop it in a glass of water.
Yeah,
And
before you're going to cook them.
And if it floats, bad egg. If it halfway floats, you got a couple more weeks on your eggs, and if it stays at the bottom, you are crystal perfect, clear.
Yeah.
So now the next thing here on our list, Kevin, is another one that surprised me, and that's salad dressing. Because I imagine that it's talking about the oil salad dressings and stuff like that. So your ranch dressing, your Thousand Island dressing, anything like that still needs to go in the refrigerator with
those
mayo.
sorts of things.
Right.
Yeah.
But oil, salad dressings, vinaigrettes, all those stuff, they can all stay in the cupboard.
Yes.
What's next, guys?
There's so many.
I know. Hey, there's 20 foods, and like I said, some of these things I was really surprised by, so I figured we might share it and see if anybody else.
It says 20 plus things, so I was expecting like don't put a chair in the fridge, and don't put your bed in the fridge, and just don't put your blankets in the fridge. Just things you're not supposed to put in the fridge. But I guess it's all food related.
Now here's something else I'm learning that you don't put in the fridge: is citrus.
Yeah. Grapefruit, oranges, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just and now that I think about it, around my house growing up, the oranges sat in a bowl on the counter, bananas sat in a bowl on the counter, and they were never put in the refrigerator. Now here's something I didn't catch during the article.
Related to pickles.
Yeah, cucumbers.
Actually, the previous generation to a pickle.
Yeah.
The pre-pickle.
The pre-pickle.
Pre-pickle.
Yeah, don't put
That's
your
right.
cucumbers in the fridge.
Cucumbers. And why did they say that? They're sensitive to temperature.
Yeah.
And
the
last
skin,
longer.
the skin, which is actually what helps the cucumber last longer, have longer shelf life, is damaged by refrigeration.
Nothing with the pulse belongs in the fridge. Okay. Tell that to Dahmer.
Boy, that just had itself, didn't it?
Talking about acid.
Bananas.
No?
Bananas don't go in the refrigerator either.
Yeah.
Bananas, carrots. Carrots, again, I put my carrots in the refrigerator. I didn't realize that you didn't have to. But carrots last a long time.
You know why? Because they have this drawer in the bottom of the fridge that says vegetable crisper.
Yeah. Yep. And it's every
but
time
yeah,
I put
they
it
don't
in
need
there,
to be
it's not crispy. It gets kind of like weak and bendy. And chocolate, you don't put chocolate in the fridge. I've put chocolate in the fridge for if I want to make it last for a while, but.
Actually, if you make homemade chocolate like we do all the time, you definitely refrigerate it.
Yeah.
Because the fats that it has in it will be in liquid form. There
That's
you go.
a nice
Kyle.
looking chocolate
Sorry
bar
about
too,
that.
boy. Let me tell you.
That is a good looking chocolate bar there. You bet it is.
Oof.
Kyle, do you think you'd be able to eat that for lunch?
No, maybe. I don't know. I think
This
having
next
like
one-
2 chunks, I'd be like, ugh.
This next one's a no-brainer, but it's on the list, and I don't know why.
There's a lot of places that cereal shouldn't be. It shouldn't be in the fridge.
Right.
Shouldn't be in the cupboards. Shouldn't be in the house.
No, have you read
Shouldn't be in
what's
the
in
grocery
there?
store. It just shouldn't be.
All those stuff that we
Just
feed our
shouldn't
kids in
be.
the morning. If you look
Yeah.
at the breakfast cereals and all the stuff that's in there, we're killing
Guys,
them.
this is totally a junk food. Worse than a junk food, though.
Yeah.
And well, other junk foods are have the same problem too. But breakfast cereals are full of preservatives, which work just as good to preserve that food as they do to destroy all the good bacteria in your gut. So
they
this
preserve the
wreaks
food.
havoc on your system.
It preserves the food, but it doesn't preserve your body. So just kind of think about that. And Oakland Callaway on Facebook says, even though they don't need refrigeration, a cold orange is nice.
That's Clinton. Let's just ignore the O.
Clinton says.
I've known him for years.
So, Chris, I got a question. Do you put your flour in the fridge?
No, flour is in the cupboard.
Flour is in the cupboard.
I usually keep them in the base with some water, but
Once you get moisture in that flour, it's Dunsky.
Over.
And what's one of the things associated with the fridge? Moisture. Yeah.
oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Just Clinton.
I gotta
okay.
go home and take all my peppers out of the refrigerator, dang it.
Yeah.
So where I put them all.
And your peppers.
peppers.
The habaneros,
Yeah.
the cayenne, like all that stuff. Do not refrigerate your peppers.
Gotta catch up.
Oh, now
It'll get you in a jam.
Yeah, now here's one that
Jam.
this is very confusing for me because there's nothing more frustrating to me than when I go in the morning to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for my kids in school, and the jam is cold and you can't get it to spread out and it starts tearing into the bread, and then you get frustrated and you have to start all over. So
what if it's pepper jam?
Well, then you don't have to put it in the fridge apparently. But according
What
to
if it's spicy jam? Because you shouldn't put your spices in the fridge either.
what if it's a space jam?
It
It
cancels
could be
out.
a space jam.
Yeah,
Then it
but anyway.
cancels out, yes.
So that
Come on
that
and slam.
doesn't go in there. Something else that we don't put in there, spice. We're running out of time, so we got to step it up a little bit. Spices
There is really
Don't put
28
your spices
plus.
in there.
and apples is something that I put in the fridge all the time, and so I'm gonna have to go home and yank my apples out.
Take them out in pairs, though.
Yeah, take them out in pairs.
Yeah,
that
and
makes
take the
sense.
pears out with them.
And take
because you
pears
shouldn't
out
have
with them.
pears in there either.
And the pre-pickles.
So pears are the next things on the list. So apples,
Apparently.
pears. My soy sauce is on the list. Believe it or not, I do store my soy sauce in the cupboard. So that's not something that I put in the refrigerator.
I feel like this article, it just keeps generating, like there's no end, like they set it up so it just keeps going.
How many of you have like soy sauces and hot sauces, all those things sitting on the door in your fridge?
They're all in my door in my fridge, Kevin. We're learning that, if anything,
Shouldn't be in the fridge.
yeah, I mean, you guys, after this article, you're going to be able to go home to your refrigerators and look
Basically,
in there.
pull everything out of there.
And you're going to be able to create a bunch more space for your refrigerator, which means more organization for your fridge, which makes it healthier for you when you eat.
No.
So,
Not only you don't have to plant your eggs in the fridge, and you don't have to have your eggplant in the fridge either.
correct.
Fridge in your eggplant.
Yes.
I did post this article in the comments, so if you'd like to follow along or you want to see it for yourself, it is in there. So yeah, just a heads up.
And then those apples that grow on pine trees. You don't put those.
Those pineapples, yes.
Yeah, you don't put those.
Pineapples don't go.
You don't put those in the fridge either.
I have a pen.
Pineapple, and I know it's really acidic,
I have an apple.
has become one of my most favorite
Apple pen.
fruits out there, and I'm sure it's probably not good for me, but I sure do like pineapple.
How about sweet potatoes? Same
Not
thing as
me.
potatoes.
No.
Makes sense.
Nope.
Potatoes
Doesn't go in
should
the
not
fridge.
be sweet, you guys.
Beans, like green beans, pretty much any of your beans don't belong in the fridge.
Right.
I think
A lot of
we
people get that because most of the time beans are stored, on the shelf in the
Yeah, they're usually
grocery
dry.
store.
and-
And lot of things I do better on the countertop instead of the fridge, including olives.
olives.
Yeah. And
lives
I
matter.
keep my olives in the trash.
and because you take your olive jar and you start to put it in the fridge and it goes no, and you go and you put it back on the counter, and it just says olive. I'm good.
She knows I'm waving to her.
Yes.
Hello to all our viewers currently watching.
Estrella Baron Lopez.
We're trying to
Hello,
get Estrella to come on the show and share some of her recipes with us and prepare them for us, right, Estrella?
Please.
Yes.
We want you to come on the show and cook us food.
Could you bring some of that non-refrigerated beef jerky?
Yes. There you go.
100% serious though, please.
Beef jerky doesn't go in the refrigerator.
Yes. Don't put the beef jerky in the fridge.
Beef
Just
jerky goes in my mouth.
seal the yeah. Either give it to Chris, seal the top of the bag. How about yogurt not yet opened? And where do they store all of this in the grocery store?
In the fridge, Kevin. I mean, it's
All refrigerated.
It's all refrigerated, and there, in my mind, this article is telling us not to store yogurt in the refrigerator. My mind is having a hard time with that because it tells me it should be in the refrigerator because it's a dairy product and you don't want it to spoil.
Well, think about it. Yogurt is made using what?
Dairy.
Bacteria.
Well,
Yeah. Think about it.
think about the person
So
that
you're saying that if you're thinking about that long lines, then the longer you leave it on the counter, the better it becomes? Like cheese?
If it's sealed up, it can be stored at room temperature.
Do you ever wonder how
Once opened, it's advisable to refrigerate, but
Okay.
sealed up. Go ahead, Kyle.
do you ever wonder how not dairy, but cheese and yogurt and butter was invented? What guy thought, man, this dairy has been, this milk has been, sitting here for a while and, it's kind of mushy.
That's how they
Let's eat
created
it.
cottage cheese, Kyle.
And then they just let it sit there even more, and they're like, wow, it's pretty hard. Let's cut into it and eat it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, butter's on the list of not needing to be refrigerated. That should be a no-brainer. And then potato chips. This doesn't even belong.
Why would
doesn't even belong as a
Why
food
would
category.
anybody put their potato chips in the refrigerator?
Right next to
Or
their
crackers, for that matter. I mean, come on.
I think people knew the potato chips and the crackers. UHT cow's milk. You know what this is?
I don't.
Ultra high temp pasteurized cow's milk. Here's what I'd say about that. You guys do not drink UHT milk.
Hoot.
I've never heard
Pasteurized
of it,
milk
so.
is not that great to begin with. You know what's the interesting thing, you guys? If you think that your body can even use, because butter, as we know, is a good fat, right? Mm-hmm. And butter comes from the cream from milk. And if you think homogenized pasteurized milk, that it contains a good fat for you and that you can use it, here's what I suggest you do. Buy whole milk that's homogenized from the store. Let it sit in your fridge long enough for the fat to float to the surface. Then take that fat, skim it off the milk, put enough of it in a container. How you make butter is simply by shaking the cream, and the fats will all consolidate. Now, if you do this with milk or cream rather directly from the cow on the farm, you'll get this nice thick butter will come out of this. Oof. If you do this with milk from the grocery store, it will be this fluffy product that feels like it was whipped. Even in the butter churning process, it can't reassemble the fat molecules, and neither can your body either. So the fat that's in this homogenized pasteurized milk is pretty much useless fat to your body. Did you know that?
Wow.
Well, I know that they're starting to say that milk isn't as healthy for us as what we thought it was.
Spider milk. Spider milk is very, and cockroach milk has more protein and more nutrients than regular cow milk.
Well, you don't refrigerate molasses, if you didn't already know that.
Are you going to milk a cockroach for us, Kyle? Because I'd like to see that.
I just keep thinking about the movie.
We're going to need a zoomed-in view on this.
I had to go there because, you know,
just like
I'm picturing Kyle over here on the table milking this little cockroach.
Magnifying glass, you know, the thing just.
Sorry.
Of course, any nuts and dried fruit don't belong in the fridge. And you know what, Chris? What's last on the list?
Papaya. Peanuts. No. Peanuts. Papaya.
Peanuts, papaya.
And why would you put your popcorn in the fridge?
Delicious.
Some of these things just don't make sense, you know? I mean, I think they just ran out of, like, legitimate things here in the article.
Yeah, don't put your sugar in the fridge. Like biscuits and cookies, that should be pretty much a no-brainer.
Oh, my barbecue sauce doesn't have to go in the fridge either? Oh, sweet.
All right, we got one other story that we want to talk about for just a moment. But before we do that, Kyle.
The website, since it's such a long list, the website kind of decided to it decided to crash. So
it decided, yes.
But we got the important things out there to make.
Now that we're talking about popcorn and crackers and potato chips, I think people know they shouldn't put that in the fridge.
Yeah, I think we're good. We can move on. Yeah.
Any surprises on the list for you?
The pickles. The pickles was a surprise.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, Kevin, because we've pickled and done things and preserved things like that for a long time. Sorry, Kyle. The pickles got me.
I had the advantage of growing up around grandparents that canned pickles.
We didn't can, but we did a lot of canning.
Okay.
Pickles wasn't one of them.
Yeah, they just sat in a cool, dry place. No refrigeration, ever. And they were delicious.
I don't believe in refrigerators.
Yeah. We're Dunsky.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have a little conversation about something else that shouldn't be in the news right after this. All right, guys, so if you need some help blowing up your message online, hey, you know what? You got the guru studs right here, Kevin, Chris, Kyle, will help make your success this year in 2019 exceptional. So go to Patreon /Northwest Digital News, and you can read about each of those levels if you need help with your marketing, and we'll be glad to put a big shot of adrenaline and nitro into your marketing here for this year.
I see that Patrick Lippy joined our live stream. He's another guy that we could bring on to talk about guns. He has a website that he runs himself, and he has more guns than probably anybody I have ever met. And I know a lot of guys with guns.
Yeah. Well,
so we'll have to invite him out to our range day when we do that. He would be a good guy to have come out and show us guns too.
Speaking of a guy that I don't know if he has any guns, but he should have plenty of guilt. This is the Mr. Jesse Smollett. Now, you know, here's for people who didn't hear about Jesse Smollett, this was interesting because, you know what, this story as it unfolded was thrown out there as this gay black man was beat up by two white guys wearing MAGA hats who said, "This is MAGA country," and then attacked and beat him up, and you know this made it in the news, and all the mainstream media was talking about poor Jesse, and saying, you know, I hear this, you know, racism alive
Cory
as
Booker
well.
even called it a modern day lynching.
Modern day lynching.
Modern day lynching.
Yes, and Kamala Harris made a comment about it too, tweeted about it, and then actually later when once this story started unfolding, and they found out that Jesse actually had his trainer and another person that he paid $4,000 to. So not only were the attackers not white guys, they were black guys, and they were Jesse's guys. So they completely staged this whole thing.
Yeah.
And if you notice now, the Chicago police wants to move this case towards a grand jury. Jesse is going to be in a lot of trouble. But you know why the media jumped all over this thing? Because it included MAGA hats, because it included white guys supposedly attacking a minority black person. It had all the elements of a hate crime, of racism, of, you know, MAGA country, you know, these idiot Trump supporters, you know, attacking this poor defenseless gay man, and supposedly they were sending him you guys, maybe you didn't know this was part of the story too, but 2 weeks later he got some hate mail, which now they believe he mailed that to.
I thought he got the hate mail first. The way I heard it, he got the hate mail first.
Right.
He didn't get the response and the attention that he was looking for from the letter. And if you looked at the letter, you guys, it looks like a freaking 5-year-old read it. It's like, what's that? It's just incredible. It looks like
and it's written like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre font.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. and
it's terrible.
It's been fun to watch this play out because all the mainstream media jumped on this and tried to.
Oh, they were on this like, you know, 1,000 fleas off a camel in somebody's armpit.
Yeah, and these guys, they and not one of these news channels that I've seen have apologized for their behavior. The media, you guys, the mainstream media is so out of control right now. They
so blew it.
And I don't understand how citizens in our nation aren't angry with what the media is doing, especially going after the Trump. I mean, they're promoting stuff like this. They wanted this to be true.
I can totally tell you what's happening, you guys. Here's it. Think of, there's a word that I don't allow to be spoken in my house. But I'm going to say it here on the show so that people know what the word is. But I do not allow this word to be spoken in my house. We don't discuss it. We don't allow the kids to use it. We don't use it. It's never spoken in our house. It is the worst word, in my opinion, in the English language and in our vocabulary, and it's a word that none of us should have even in our thought process. The word is hate. Okay? Now, let me tell you why that word's not allowed in our house. First of all, think about something that at whatever point of your life that you might have used that word and said, I hate that. Okay? Maybe you hate the dog, maybe you hate your car, maybe you hate your spouse, maybe you hate, you know, other things around you. But think about how much you can justify doing to this thing that you hate, that under any other circumstance would be completely wrong. But it doesn't matter the least little bit when you hate it, because everything bad, good, bad, and different is justified when you hate it, right? If you said, man, I hate that dog, and you walk by and kick the dog, and somebody says, hey, Kyle, that wasn't the right thing to do, you go, I hate that dog. Boom, kick the dog. And somebody goes, you know what, it wasn't the right thing to do. And you go, who cares? None of it matters. Here's the thing that also doesn't matter when you hate something. Truth. Truth doesn't matter at all. All of the means are justified by the end that they're trying to accomplish. And when you hate something, which that is exactly what we're seeing out of media, is blatant, open hatred. And I'm not going to go into where I see this coming from, but it's always an extremist attitude that leads to hatred. And, you know, one of the definitions of hatred, well, maybe Merriam-Webster has changed this now because, you know, all this sensitivity and political correctness bullcrap that's out there. But I can tell you that back in 2006, 2007, one of the definitions of hate was the devil's drug. I'll tell you what, there is all kinds of the worst kinds of things that come out of people when they hate something and hate anyone or anything. And there's no regard for the truth, there's no regard for facts, there's no regard for anything. It's just nothing matters, everything goes when you hate something. And this media that we have in our country, Trump just happened to be an individual who pulled this out of them in full force, okay? That is it and nothing more. And so everything they say about him and everything they said about this case, you guys, it's because of their extreme hatred that the moment this case broke, all the elements of the case said that it was completely false. A former Tucson, Arizona police officer by the name of Brandon Tatum was interviewed on the news the day this story broke. And he was on the news and he was being criticized by a bunch of people because he said, you guys, this is in sub-zero temperatures in Chicago. People are not just walking around outside looking for a place to exercise a hate crime. That makes no sense. And then these attackers, as he said, you know, started attacking them and then they just left. That also makes no sense. He goes, if you hate something and you're doing a hate crime, remember what I said, everything goes? When you actually really hated something, now you get a chance to punch or kick or attack this thing that you hate. We probably wouldn't have recognized Jesse Smollett the next day if he had actually been attacked by somebody who hated him. But first of all, they didn't attack him in sub-zero temperature. They didn't just go, hey, punch in the face and okay, now we're leaving. And they didn't just conveniently throw out all these little terms that the media was exactly looking for. They were just waiting to pounce on somebody who was wearing a MAGA hat and who said, this is MAGA country. It was all the things that the media was just pouncing on, waiting for. And the minute they got this little juicy tidbit from this complete bullshitter known as Jesse Smollett, who now, by the way, is going to face charges for making a false report.
There is a positive thing that I personally have seen come out of this situation. There is a positive. And a lot of people disagree.
Well, one of the positives is Jesse Smollett's going to be charged by a grand jury.
Oh, for sure. But and I take a lot of heat for this, but I finally saw somebody on one of the major news channels the other day say that they do not believe in hate crimes. They do not believe in hate crimes. They just believe in crime. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I have agreed with, and I have said personally for many, many years that I don't believe in a hate crime. If you are going to, I just believe in a crime. If you're going to hit somebody, you're going to hit them because you don't like them.
But you know, one of the definitions, hold on just a second though, when somebody says hate crime, if you think about that, what I was just describing before, how a hate crime, at least in my mind, can be different. It's a crime committed without any regard, any conscience, nothing. Hate crime, if somebody commits a crime and let's say they accidentally run into somebody with a vehicle because they're not paying attention or whatever else, that's going to be a vehicular homicide. Right. But what if there's a guy in the road who goes, hey, there's somebody I don't like, and runs them over with his car? You could go, that's not only vehicular homicide, but it's a hate crime. They intentionally do something, and it's without conscience, without regard. This kind of stuff. When I even look at how the news was reported on this, that if somebody wants to talk about a hate crime, the crime is they don't even take a moment to vet the story. They don't look at any of the extremely questionable elements of this. The minute he starts reporting this in the news, the police call him and go, wait a minute, this isn't the story you gave us. And nobody in the media is concerned about these complete lack of details, and even this interview that he did. The news reporter, because she's so hungry for the story to be right and all the elements of the story to right, she doesn't even do her journalistic duty and does not talk. Doesn't even ask him any of the tough questions. Well, you guys, we got to leave it there. But the POS, look that up if you're not sure what it is. The POS, known as Jussie Smollett, is going to face a grand jury in Chicago for his
what's
completely
really sad
worthless.
Is that when Roseanne Barr made a joke, she got ran off the air. This guy, and this is coming from people that know better than me, this guy almost started a race war.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
I mean, this is how out of whack the media took this and ran. Mm-hmm. They had people whipped into a frenzy.
All right.
And so, anyway.
I just, one point of mine before we go. I just don't know how many times I literally have to say it. We're all human. Who cares what religion, race, what country you're from, whatever. We're all human. This war, it's so dumb. This war.
Race war.
It is a thing, I guess, but it's dumb. It's stupid.
I think it's a thing only if you let it be a thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. If you let it be a thing, it is a thing. We're still brothers. We're still neighbors. We're still friends.
They're only keeping racism alive by doing this stuff.
All right, guys, we're out of time. Got to run. Thanks everybody who joined us here on Northwest Digital News. Kevin Hunter, Chris Bornstead, and Kyle Torgerson. Stop putting all those foods in your fridge, you guys.
This concludes today's live programming on Northwest Digital News. Thanks for joining us for this special broadcast. Heard around the world in more than 70 countries on YouTube, Instagram, Patreon, Facebook, and Twitch TV. If you enjoyed a story or guest we had here on Northwest Digital News and would like to strut your stuff on the broadcast, email us today at wainfo2017@gmail.com or call or text to 360-545-3501. We're always interested in unique stories, topics, and guests to share with our worldwide audience. Before you go, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and comment on the live stream. And for those of you who'd like to financially support the broadcast, you can do so at patreon.com/Northwest Digital News. We thank you for your patronage. On behalf of Chris Bornstead, Kyle Torgerson, Stephanie Hunter, and all the people that made this broadcast possible, I'm Kevin Hunter. Till next time, take care.